Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, we're going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of appreciation to Abraham Muhammad, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvault, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin, Henrik86, Jeronism, Joshua Balsimo, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Matt, Nagara, Naibai, Qatar Craig, Reinhardt, Rene, Sally Ballis, Skeptic936, Silver Umbrella, Texas Mike, The Flat Earth Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock App, theflatearthchannel.com, Tina Baker and Tom Hawkins. So a massive shout out of appreciation to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now we do have a few people in both Discord and G+, so I'm going to raise the mic on them while I set up for the first live show.
If one building isn't irregular to the height of the building next to that, you know, it's always consistent. Now, the chances of that being happening all the time, right, when you're looking over massive distances with 20 miles by 20 miles of water without any kind of temperature changes. Because if there was temperature changes, the observation would be all over the place. All the time. Everything would be like, it would be like, what would you call it? When people hold hands and they sort of like do that Mexican wave. Like a Mexican wave all the time. 1 minute one building would be higher than the other. The next second the building would be lower than it. You know, because this is what you'd be expecting to see if light behaves the way they say it does, but it doesn't.
Well, it magnifies. I mean, just right there tells you there's all kinds of atmospheric lensing and stuff going on when things magnify when they're not supposed to. That's the air, the moisture, and everything else at far distances is magnified over water.
Right, so let me go to this.
I used to see the coastline of Newport Beach and from Catalina, from the Isthmus of Catalina at night, but all the lights of the buildings and everything else, just 25, 24 miles, something like that, just with the naked eye when it was clear.
Right, let's just share this screen a sec, because I've just ram home what I'm actually talking about with this, with the temperature. So I've just typed in now weather for, so Monday to 1 o'clock, the temperature is 7 degrees in Preston, right? Yeah. And yet in Blackpool, it's 8 degrees. And it's only like 15 to 20 miles away to Preston, right? So
is that chart underneath showing the temperature differences at the different times?
Yeah, that's Monday at 1 o'clock today, Blackpool, UK, 8 degrees. And then Preston, same time, UK, 7 degrees. So even though we're next door neighbours, essentially, we're only 15, 20 miles away from each other. Let's get up Google Earth and have a look. I'll measure it. Yeah, I mean, that's a 1 degree difference. Now, that 1 degree is a temperature difference over 20 miles or so. And my observations are taken essentially over 20 miles. So if we can get differences like this, we'd expect to see a different type of refraction going on with the observation, you know? So there's Preston. So here's Blackpool. Here's Preston. 14 miles away. Yeah? As the crow flies, it's a 14-mile distance. Now, that's a 1 degree temperature between Blackpool and Preston, right? So when I'm doing my observations from here, when I'm doing my observations from here, I would need the temperature to stay exactly the same all the way over this distance, over all this water, which is some 18.5 miles away. I need it to stay exactly the same, 8 degrees from here to here, to have a constant observation of those buildings. If as I look across the water here, and this little area here is 7 degrees, and this area here is 8 degrees, then the refraction of light, if it even happens the way they say it does, would mean that when I look at these buildings through those little zones, those temperature zones, this building on the left will have a different relative position to the buildings over here that I'm trying to look through. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So those buildings would appear different every time I go down if refraction of light happens the way they say it does, because you're talking big distances, 20 miles. It's a long way to have that same temperature gradient over the entire area. You know, at some point, those temperatures get different, which would mean a different position of the building.
This reminds me of when Dr. D was on the Ball Busters talking about spectroscopy, if I said it right. And you know, he's a PhD in that. And he said they needed a controlled environment, a sealed box with nothing in between the testing equipment. And he says the way they do it now, they just aim up. You got all that stuff in the atmosphere that they have to deal with. So you're basically saying the same thing, except you're saying all that stuff between you and what you're shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, but it has to be the same, because if you look through a cooler area, how would I even draw it? I might work on something actually, just to.
Well, like a wave, maybe like a straight line, and then it bends a little bit, or it goes below the line a little bit, and then goes back.
Hey, Ranty, look how much on my video here, how much the temperature difference affects the what happens to the air over a couple of feet.
Yeah, I saw that, Paul, the other day.
Ah, yeah.
Good morning, Paul.
Oh, it's hard for me to talk. I was just saying, I was just kind of confirming Ranty's point by just the temperature differential will throw things off, and here's just a couple of feet.
Are you sure that's not a subwoofer in that car going off?
Exactly. No. I mean, there's no subwoofer because Lily is faint in the background on this video. So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But this temperature differential is just so negligible, Ranty. Come on, don't you get this? This refraction index is just so insignificant. Come on.
Why would you think that it would be negligible?
He's being sarcastic.
Because all of the ball proofs are insignificant, barely noticeable, negligible. Every single one of their quote unquote proofs.
Yeah, that's about right.
Why would this be any different?
Morning, chocolate. That's
really what got me a lot of the time. It's like literally every single one of their proofs they point to, even if you ignore begging the question and affirm the consequence, all of this, even at the very best, it's just negligible enough to notice. Therefore, just trust us. It's there. Science has found it.
Ranty, anytime you ever hear me say, you just don't understand, I'm being a baller at that moment. So just so you know.
I know. I do the same thing all the time. Oh yeah, you just don't understand. That's the only arguments with children. You just don't understand.
Good morning, peeps.
Good morning.
What's also interesting is the Joshua Nowicki stuff when he goes and he films the Chicago skyline. So I've just gone and done a measurement across that skyline, and the distance from point A to point B across that skyline is 17 miles. So you could have weather conditions in, say, is it near Foster Avenue or something, that would be, let's say, 10 degrees, and over in Wooden Island it could be 9 degrees. Well, that would mean, as he's taking the observation, looking at those two different areas, he would be getting a different skyline than the constant skyline that he actually sees.
Hey, Randy, just so, and I'm sure everyone could agree to this, when I had my boat and I'd go to Catalina from Newport, you know, it takes a little while because it's 24 miles out or so, and I'd be standing away from the covering of the boat, and all of a sudden the temperature would change because I'm in a new area in the ocean, and it either got colder or hotter instantly, and then it would go back to another temperature, like maybe 10 seconds later. So there's stuff happening over the ocean. Crazy.
Yeah, well, one thing that's not happening is curvature.
That's for sure. Fluid dynamics.
Ranty, with your photos, it's refraction and looming. With theirs, it's curvature. Haven't you figured this out yet?
I'm still waiting for somebody to show me proof of looming beyond Earth curve.
What
you're still waiting for them to prove Earth curve?
I'm going to say, you want proof of the reification, do you, Ranty? You want the impossible?
Yeah, I do. I want somebody to show me a building or something loomed up from beyond Earth curvature.
You can't do that.
Earth curve.
In actuality, Earth curve is just part of a model that they reify, so they're never going to show you that.
Know that. Yeah, it's getting desperate for these globies now. Very desperate indeed.
Which ones, the munchkins or the dwarfs?
Yeah. I've seen a few memes going around recently. Does anybody come across them? From Hyena?
No. From Hyena? No.
Have you not seen some of these memes that are floating around?
No.
Apparently, Gem Panda, he jumped on the Globe Light tour at the end. Interesting looking fella.
Oh, is he on the Globe Light tour promoting the Globe Light?
That's not.
That's nice of him.
Done.
I didn't know he'd
How you
turned.
doing, guys?
I didn't know he'd turned sides.
Hey, Adam.
Let's see if I can share my screen with you guys and show you an image.
Out and about doing a bit of flat Earth activism, was he?
I think he was. Yeah, he was shilling it for the Globe.
Oh, for the Globe.
Nathan That's nice.
Oh, I thought you meant he was on the Globe Light tour talking about the Globe Light.
Well, are you on about the
Nathan
troll that's
Oakley.
not a troll but looks just like a troll?
Hello from the Discord.
So here
Universe.
we have. This is Gem Panda. This is Gem Panda here on the right, and obviously here we have Roxanne. Now Roxanne's about 5'10", I would say. Clearly, Gem Panda's a little bit shorter than that.
A little bit.
He's further away, Ranty, isn't he? So objects are going to get smaller. He's in the distance.
Yeah, that's
His angular size.
He's just reduced.
this is one of the memes that.
I thought that was that Speaker of the House of Commons, Burko, when I first saw that picture.
Don't get it. Oh, I see. The coat goes down to his shoes. Very funny.
Yeah, that's quite funny. But yeah, so there's Gem Panda, obviously. So, yeah, so interesting.
I'm telling you, I think him and George should square off. That would be a funny fight.
You're flashing away, Elijah. Have you got something to add? Other than background noise.
Oh, okay, finally. I'm sorry, I was muted. My bad.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Damn, I forgot what I was going to say. All right, I'll be back.
Worth all the background noise. Hey, Flatsoid.
Hey, Nathan, I'm going to be going live tonight about 10.
Okay.
Thought I'd let you know.
Cool. What
Yeah.
you got on?
Sorry?
What you got on?
It's an awards ceremony.
An award ceremony?
Well, it's not a ceremony, actually. It's nominations tonight, actually. So,
okay.
Because they've had the Globers have done the DFOTY Dumb Fuck of the Year awards.
Excuse me. That's copyright Nathan Oakley, I think you'll find.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
How is it?
Because that's mine.
What, DFOTY?
Yeah, Dumb Fuck of the Year is mine.
Okay. Well, anyway, they've got an award ceremony doing that. So I've made a new one. TEOTY. Triggered Earther of the Year award.
Triggered Earther. Could be either side then, I take it.
It is, yeah. It's definitely for either side. Well, the reason I've done that is because they this year have included some Globers in their own DFOTY. So I thought, well, in the interest of fairness, I think I need to just make it as an Earther award. so I've been taking a few.
So Ranty, then does that mean that we're definitely someone's going to definitely nominate Spurs after Friday? Then
I would think so. Yeah. It's just light-hearted. It's Christmas, and I'm just having a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I didn't think Spurs had been particularly triggered at any point, though, unless I'm wrong.
Hey, you might get a nomination, Nath. Or Arwin.
I should hope so.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by the Adam Meakin, Ranty Flat Earth, Chocolate Saiyan, Flatzoid, Righteous Force, Paul, and have I missed anybody? 10th Man in G+. Very good to have you all.
Afternoon.
Good morning.
Morning, afternoon, wherever you've been, maybe. Hello to everyone in Discord as well.
Good morning, all.
Was that the dulcet tones of Spurs I heard then? Was that Spurs? No, maybe not. Just imagining things.
No, that was Elijah.
Just before we go on to housekeeping, Nate, I just want to say, if anybody wants to jump on the panel tonight, Adam, if you fancy jumping on around about 10 o'clock, let us know. Or Nathan, even if you want to come on, you're all welcome. Anybody's welcome.
You need to promote it better. We've just gone live. No one knows what you're talking about. Or I'll do it if you don't.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going live tonight at 10 p.m. It's the TEOTY nominations. That's the Triggered Earther of the Year nominations. So Flat Earther, Globe Earther. Over the past year, if you've seen anybody really triggered, or you've got like a timestamp on a video where they've actually really lost it, let me know. And we're going to sort of, it's a bit of a jokey kind of thing coming up to Christmas. I don't want it to be too heavy. It's just a bit of light-hearted fun. So if you've got anybody to nominate, let me know. I've got it on my community post, and hopefully we'll get a bit of fun going over the Christmas period.
Jolly good. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Not from Big Sur.
Nope. Not on Earth.
Only in Glover's minds.
Any evidence of axial rotation?
Nope.
Oh no.
What? Are we spinning? I don't feel anything.
Can the Globers answer in the Discord? Surely they that are sitting in there must have answers for this.
Yeah, I'm on top of it today. Everyone's off mute. Maybe not Merle. Hey, Merle.
Hello.
Good to have you.
With Earth curvature, I posted a Great Circle navigation course from JFK to LAX to Mexico City back to JFK. You see that the angles of that triangle are indeed not 180 degrees,
And
indicating it is not on a flat surface.
why would that indicate that it's not on a flat surface?
Where are the triangles in real life?
Hold on. Why would that indicate it's not on a flat surface? Wouldn't that indicate the maps are wrong?
If a set of angles do not equal 180 degrees, but they converge at 3 points, and you do the correct calculation, you can see that it is indeed on a spherical surface.
Oh, so if you presuppose the surface that they're travelling on is spherical, it works on that map? Is that what you're saying?
No, you can measure it.
Can you?
You don't have to presuppose anything, you just measure it.
Measure it with what? The maps that you're using to verify it? What are you measuring it with?
Yeah, you can fly the route.
Sorry, with the
You
maps
fly the
that
route.
you're using
Check
to
the route
verify
every
this
day.
with, right? So you won't actually be taking a yardstick and measuring anything. You'll verify it with the maps that you're using to make this conclusion, correct?
No. You can
So
just
how are you
measure
going to measure it?
Time and distance.
Well,
The distance.
can I ask a logical question of that, just really quickly, if that's all right?
Sure.
Is 1,000 miles curving and 1,000 miles level the same? Is there any differentiation between the two?
When you try to converge at 3 points and take those angles, you see that they don't equal 180 degrees.
That's not what he asked.
So yes, it is
question?
answering his question.
Not really. Do you want to ask your question again, Mel?
Yeah, sure. So 1,000 miles, right? So 1,000 miles curving and 1,000 miles level. Is there any differentiation between those two?
Yes.
What would that be?
When you start to converge on 3 curved lines at any 3 points, you'll notice that they don't equal 180 degrees.
I think Merle's asking, are your straight lines curved lines when you calculate your angle?
That's not what I'm talking about.
No, but that's what he's asking.
Great.
So when you calculate the angle, have you used a curved path?
You've just measured 2 points.
You have you? Can you show me that? Show me you measuring that, please.
Yeah, I just posted it in.
Can someone bring up the Discord server, whatever he's just posted? This is you
I just
measuring
posted it
it.
in Discord.
This will be you measuring this, really.
Where in Discord?
Yep.
And how did you
I
measure
said,
it?
where did you post it in Discord?
Live
I
stream.
don't see it. Yeah,
Let's
I'm
go
on
to
live stream.
Sky Vector.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Can you help him out, RC?
Timestamp. 56 minutes past the hour.
You hear that?
What was the question?
50. No, we're just getting the timestamp for when you posted it. 56 minutes past. For whoever's looking it up.
I reposted, no worries.
Oh, brilliant. Can someone in G Plus bring it up on screen? Thanks. So, how did you measure it? So there's 2 questions on the table. How did you measure it? Was it already presupposed to be curving? My original question.
It's not presupposed to be curving. It's simply a measurement verified by hundreds of flights a day.
Yeah, but is that measurement of a curve or not?
It's a measurement between 2 points, Nathan. It can't get any clearer.
Yeah, and is that a curve that you're taking a measurement of or not?
Or when I
Is it hard to
posted it in
understand,
Master
Nathan?
B
It's
if
a
you want to
measurement
open
Hold on,
it.
Chocolate.
2
He's answering.
points.
Hold on, Chocolate. Can you repeat that, Arcee? I didn't hear your answer. Sorry.
I said it's not hard to understand. It's a measurement between 2 points.
You haven't answered. Adam, can you ask your question?
I just answered the question, Nathan.
I think the question the clarity we're seeking is when you take this distance that you're saying you draw a triangle from, so from point A to B, is that a straight line distance? Do you draw straight, or as I think you started out talking about plotting great circle routes? Well, they wouldn't be straight, would they? They would be curved lines to give you that approximation to the finely formed triangle. So I think we're asking is, what shape are your straight lines? Are they straight or are they great circle routes like you first said?
They are distance between 2 points. You take 3 points, making sure that they converge back at the same one. You will get what looks like a triangle.
We heard your claim. You've made it 4 times, Arcee. Repeating your claim over and over and over again doesn't answer the question. Now, I already started off by saying you're begging the question, and now you've got it to the point where we're saying, are they curved or aren't they curved? And you say it's between 2 points. Yeah, well, you can take curves between those 2 points, or you can take straight lines. You're going to answer, or don't you know? I know that you will be begging the question here. You will automatically be assuming a sphere Earth, which is why you keep repeating your claim rather than giving clarity to your begging the question fallacy, which I've already rumbled you on at the beginning of this assertion. So has Adam, and so has Mel. We've all caught you, but you just want to keep repeating your claim over and over and over again. Is that the end? Silence rather than concede. You're begging the question and assuming it's travelling on a curved surface. We're not going to get to that point. Not going to concede. Just going to repeat your claim again, maybe. We move on. This long protracted
before
silence.
You move on, there's a second point of clarity I'd just like to get.
Go
as
ahead.
Well, and
be my guest.
That's regards to the angles. Now, you said you're talking about angles. Now, I'm assuming again this is a secondary backworking where you'll take a bearing on your flat map and then backwork your bearing to convert it into an angle that you then presuppose onto a ball model. Because obviously nobody's getting a protractor out, are they, at the flight? So everything's going to be based on bearings, isn't it? And then back calculated to assume that angle, which you then back plot onto a ball.
That's correct. Very concisely put, Adam. Well done. Yeah, precisely as I said. He'll be begging the question, using the map, not making a measurement. Correct. That's what I asserted, and that's precisely what he's doing. That's why we've got this long, protracted silence.
Yeah. A very long straight line, but that straight line is to them not actually straight. No, it's an R-based straight line.
Yeah. Tried to weasel in R, didn't you there, Icy? Didn't want to admit it. Wanted to repeat your claim 5 times. So, should we move on? Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius, the one that was presupposed in this crap example? Any evidence of the R value? RC Meisty, maybe? No? Protracted silence for this one as well? Just tried to hustle it in there, in the middle of housekeeping. R value. Any evidence thereof?
RC Meisters a hustler.
Yeah. I've told you, all they can do from now on is try and find more and more ingenious ways of working in the begging the question fallacy that is assuming Earth is a sphere at the beginning of your assertion. That's all they can do from now on. Figure out more and more tricky ways of doing it. And then you get that protracted silence right at the beginning when I say, this will be begging the question, then won't it? No. It's just the point between 2 points, minus the admission that you're assuming an R value between those 2 points, right? The R value, any proof of it?
Is this the same curvature that Neil deGrasse says we can't see until we go really high?
Oh, we've gone beyond that. We've gone beyond curve and axial rotation. We're now onto the only thing they can use to try and claim they've proved a sphere Earth, which is assume the R value, as done in the last example. I'm asking for evidence of that. No, nothing. Anybody? Just Weasley ways of trying to work it in.
Straight lines.
Weasley ways of trying to weasel it in.
I don't understand where did RC Meister go? He doesn't have a rebuttal to this, or what happened? Did we give up?
Rebuttal. There is no rebuttal to this. He knows he's begging the question. I knew he was begging the question immediately. Merle knew he was begging the question. Merle, right? Merle spotted it. Everyone spotted it. Let's move on. Any evidence you can have gas
ball
pressure?
And went home.
Yeah, give up. Knows when he's defeated. It's quite amusing though. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container?
Well, there was that space dust that Spurs brought to the table.
Space dust? I don't want to know about that party.
Of the balloon.
Oh, right, the talcum powder inside the. I'm sure it's not talcum powder, but.
Sorry, space dust was a little dramatic.
He just ignores everything. I was like, you can see gas. Yeah. No, you can't see gas. Yeah, you can. Look, I'll show it you. That's not gas. What are you talking about?
On that, Nath, right, I was thinking maybe it's all us that should get voted for Triggered Earther when responding to Spurs, because in 6 months he's been pressing our buttons on this.
Well, there's a big difference between getting annoyed in the moment and then, once the moment has passed, you basically don't care, or I certainly don't care. I didn't give Spurs a second thought after that show with Ranty, entertaining though I'm sure it was for an audience, to, hash out these things when it comes to things like there being no air pressure on Earth, which is essentially his assertion. Ludicrous and frustrating and entertaining, but quickly forgotten about. It's like, yeah, great, Spurs is an ace guy. I've spent time with Spurs. We went out to St. Bees with him. He's a good guy. So there's no love lost between us whatsoever. But what my point was going to be was that there is an underlying pain with our opponents. When we say share your pain, we mean it. We know that they're cognitively in pain. Well, we're not. I sleep perfectly well.
I was gonna say, Nath. I mean, I think we're quite a good example, because after a painful summer of pressure with Spurs, I did go away and do his logo under no pressure, his website and the like. So it's a slightly different, much better natured level of disagreement. Yeah, I don't suppose triggering. I do. He's infuriated at times because he won't listen, or he refuses to respond to the point. A bit like what we just had there, doesn't he? But yeah, I do love him.
Well, the thing is, it's audibly tongue-in-cheek, and what I mean by that is if you listen back to Ranty's show, I even say it. So he asserts at one stage, they say we have gas pressure here, and when he says that, you can hear him smiling. You can hear it.
Check this. This is what I got the following morning off Spurs. Fucking brilliant. Hello, morning. Just to clear up what you said yesterday, I think your conclusion was that the cork should have popped at 100,000 feet. Right? Is that really what I said, Spurs? Don't worry, we can talk tomorrow over a pint, because I was supposed to go to London, weren't I? But it is totally tongue-in-cheek. He properly knows how to wind you up, doesn't he, Spurs?
But still. Right, let's move on. Any evidence in the entire history of the fields of cosmology, astronomy, or astrophysics of any viable hypothesis?
No.
Was there something where they shot a laser into the sky to try and create a star or something?
That's not really a hypothesis.
Now, just watching things transpire and then drawing conclusions is not science. But if they would actively interact with it and manipulate them, maybe it could be in some way scientific. But they don't do that, because then they would have to openly admit that they're not giant balls of fire at endless distances away.
So maybe give clarity to what I mean. A hypothesis is a scientific prediction. It establishes your presumed cause, independent variable, of an effect, dependent variable. The effect being an observed natural phenomena. In your hypothesis, you will have two sides, an alternative and a null. Your alternative will establish an affirmative claim, if you will. If this, then that. If A, then B. Your null will be the antithesis of your prediction. If A, not B. Now, because it has this mirror, if you will, the antithesis, the null hypothesis, it gives you, upon experimentation, an empirical outcome. You will either confirm, validate, if you will, or invalidate your hypothesis. And if you invalidate your positive assertion, your presumed cause, then ipso facto you validate the null. So what we're looking for, not even an experiment, is a viable hypothesis. That would be to say that it has an independent and dependent variable at the very minimum established within the formulation of an alternative and a null. That's a hypothesis, a scientific prediction. So don't need lasers firing into the sky. That's definitely not a hypothesis. It'd be great if the hypothesis we get would be capable of testing. That would be good too. But at this stage, we're just asking for any viable hypothesis. That would be a scientific prediction from cosmology, astrophysics, or astronomy. Any of them. Any viable hypothesis.
I have a question on that. Because apparently there are people who still feel like you don't need to vary an independent variable. Is that something that you would need to do to conduct a scientific experiment?
Well, yeah, your question kind of relates around what an independent variable is. So an independent variable would have to fulfill a few criteria. One would be it's got to be real. Two would be it's your presumed cause of the effect. And three, it must be capable of being varied by you, the researcher. So the ability of variation
that's
is definitely...
incorrect.
Oh, really?
Ooh. Oh, really?
It does not have to be, it does not have to be varied by the researcher. It can be varied in any causal way.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they're gonna have an objection to that, and then I always ask, okay, well, where?
All right. Do you want to give us an example?
Any type of measurement or variable needs to be manipulatable or manipulated in some type of predictable way.
What does manipulation mean?
By the researcher. It can be either done by the researcher or by some type of variable that can be reliably predicted so that your results are therefore valid and reliable.
If you aren't the one that manipulated
what does manipulation mean exactly?
I said manipulated or manipulable. So meaning
what does that word mean?
Change.
What does that mean?
It can be changed.
Yes,
that can be changed.
Don't babble on. What's the definition of manipulate? What does that mean?
To change.
You got a citation?
You can Google it yourself, Nathan.
I'm asking you. You used the word. Being capable of manipulation.
No, actually, you asked me and I gave you an answer.
Yeah, now I want you to define your answer.
I just did. To change. It's pretty darn simple, Nathan.
Well, change means change.
Okay. Manipulate is another way
if I look it up, because you can't be asked and you've told me to Google it, so I have. It says handle or control. And then it's got examples, a tool, mechanism, information, etc. In a skillful... I haven't finished. Do you mind? You told me to Google it. Why are you interrupting me? Hello? Why are you interrupting me? You told me to Google it. It was a word you used when saying that, no, it's not got to be handled. But yet in the first word it says handle. You're saying it doesn't need a researcher to be... I'm talking. Again, you seem to be interrupting me a lot when you're getting held to task on your total nonsense. When I look up the word manipulate, the first word is handle. Now, unless I'm misunderstanding what handle means, but I assume that means my hands. Now, you, on the other hand, think that I don't have to get involved when varying a variable. Well, you're wrong. Manipulation involves me handling it. So you're incorrect. Having looked up and Googled, as requested by you, a definition of the word you used to define something not being needed to be handled, yeah, it does. That's what manipulate means.
And you completely ignore the second half of the definition.
RC Meister.
You just go with the one that's
Sorry, I ignored the definition that I read out. I read it out. You told me to go and Google
and you
it.
ignored the second half.
Sorry, ignored the second part. I'm the one reading it. Have you cited this? Have you got it up on screen? No. So what are you talking about? I haven't missed anything. Dictionary. Handle or control, and then it gives examples in brackets, a tool, mechanism, information, etc., in a skillful manner. And then it gives a quoted example. He manipulated the dials of the set. So, in the example, it's got a person handling something. To manipulate means to control something with your hands. Well, that's what manipulation means when you're talking about varying a bloody variable. As specifically designated by me, it needs to be varied, manipulated, by a researcher. So, yeah, there's got to be a researcher manipulating it involved in that process. Not just letting it happen. No, that's not what manipulation means. You're just wrong. Having told me to go and Google search the word you used to say that that word doesn't mean you've got to get involved. Yeah, it does. Handle. You're done, RC Meisty. Any more interruptions?
This is why I asked the question, because I knew it would draw one of them out.
Oh, he left.
Yeah, can I make an interruption? I want to make an interruption right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just learned something interesting this weekend. I always used to wonder, why the Globies are so mad and pissed off at us. And I just had this epiphany, most nerds have hobbies that allow them to escape reality. Think Dungeons and Dragons or World of Warcraft. And in the same way, these Globies use a heliocentric model as a mechanism to escape reality. And why would they want to do that? And there are reasons for that. Like, if you look like a gremlin in real life, if you're 5 feet tall with a hunchback in real life, then you're gonna hate reality. You're not gonna, you're gonna have escape mechanisms that allow you to not deal with what you really look like in real life. If you're Quasimodo, the guy that rings a church bell every morning, you're gonna hate life. And a lot of these trolls look like that. They look like vultures and like pterodactyls. They look horrible. No wonder they hate life.
Taxis.
I gotta get my composure. Pissing myself here.
So who looks like a pterodactyl?
Looks like a pterodactyl. Some guy that showed up to the Lite tour. I'm sure some of you guys know who that is.
Look, without
yeah,
talking about anybody.
He's hideous.
Stop. Without talking about any specific people, right? There's often depictions in cartoons and adult, TV shows where they show what is a stereotype of a troll. And they'll literally show you a monster, a little trolley monster, in front of his keyboard going, "Here, I hate everybody. You're all scum and evil." Right? Well, that is what they're like. There's a reason for that stereotype, because they are like that. That's what trolls are like. Soulless people in front of the keyboard.
I honestly didn't think they really looked like that. I was shocked and surprised.
Oh, right. I wasn't, and I'm not at all, because... right, back in the day when I was about 18, I'd kiss goodbye to all computers. My folks ran a computer shop. I grew up with computers, and I eventually hated them by the time I left home at like 16. So there was a couple of years where I didn't have any computers in my life, and then my folks sold the business and gave me a computer. So this is 1998, and I just got a free, fully interneted up, does everything computer. And I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. And some guy from work came in, and I told him I got this computer I wasn't using, and he couldn't believe his ears. So he set it all up for me, showed me AOL, and introduced me to Instant Messenger, which is now so common, right? Back then, it was a revelation. And you could just go and find somebody on the internet and start chatting to them. And he was like, watch this. Find some random girl. What colour pants have you got on? I'm like, that's gross. I don't like that. I don't want to do any of that. That's horrible. You know, it's like, but you can be whatever you like. And this guy was a bit of a weasel. He was about 5 foot. I'm not even joking. Sam, if you're listening to this, I'm so sorry. But anyway, right, he was a bit of that kind of character. But I was like, no, I want to use my real name with my date of birth at the end. So Nathan Oakley 1980 was actually my original email. I've still got it. I still use it as my screen name on this site. But the point is that some people just don't need to hide their identity and be a troll. Some people do. And those people were immediately prevalent to me back in 1998 because I wanted to go out and meet people, socialise, meet women, get laid, all that kind of stuff. And I did. Now, back then, you were called a predator if you were trying to chat women up on the line. Oh, you're grooming them immediately because all paedophiles were in the news. So as soon as you're online looking for women, oh, well, you're grooming girls. No, I just want to get laid. I'm not interested in children. But the fact that it's in the news means that everybody's talking about it. Now, dating online, I met my wife on a dating site. That's totally normal and common. You know, and there's an actual, action for catching these predators. You know, I've been watching a lot of Chris Hansen, in case you can't tell. So anyway, there's like segregated parts of society that are going after the monsters, the true monsters of the internet, as opposed to just assuming you're one of them because you're online. Now, the point of all this is I met some of these people, the catfish, the trolls. Back then, there was not even photo messaging. So people would tell you what they look like with a short description. You know me, I put 6'2", hazel eyes, broad, stunning, beautiful, chiseled features. You just lie, right? And then eventually you'd meet, and somebody who said that there was a 5'8" brunette with a slim figure and a great personality would turn out to be 25 stone, 5 foot, and rather ugly. People would lie. But the point is, you get to meet some of these characters, and I always knew that behind every single chatty chat box was a real person. Now, so many times when I got to Flat Earth, and it's like back to the same structure. YouTube's no different to bloody AOL. You've got your instant messaging, you've got your chat room going by, which is basically the same as a chat room on AOL. You've got your forum underneath the video. It's the same as a AOL forum. The only real difference is there's a video playing. But the structure is pretty much identical, so none of this is new to me. In fact, it's far from new. But the way that people behave is never going to change. Your average Joe who can't go out and get a woman and generally is looked down upon, in most cases literally looked down on by most people, they're going to get the means to suddenly be whatever they like. And quickly they realise that they can only extend that, that sort of second life in the computer. It doesn't really extend beyond the fibre optic cables that they're connected to. So, eventually that's going to poison them. It's going to get into their mindset, and they're going to feel resentful to the people who do go out and extend those kind of ways and being and those, what for them are lies, in their real everyday life. They hate those people, and they become a physical embodiment of what they actually are. Little trolls and dwarves and what's the other one? Munchkins, whatever you want to call them. They're these little horrible little people that are generally quite grotesque that go around telling everybody else how grotesque they are. Well, it's just projection. This is nothing new to me. So all the trolls, I laugh at them. I call them my fuzzy little sods, and I talk about rubbing their hair in the chat rooms because I know what they're really like. And when it turns out they are some 5 foot little hunchback, you go, yeah, I'll ruffle your little head. Were you flushed down the bog at school? Yeah, I bet you were. There are nasty people who do that to people like you because you're little. And that's how life's treated you, and I can totally understand why you're now a little Napoleon. Running around like George Nettingett, going after people's jobs. Oh, I understand that. I can totally get it. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make that person any less of a total shit. But ultimately speaking, at least you've got some sort of explanation for it. Go, right, yeah, you've probably been bullied your entire life. Anytime anybody encounters you in public, they're probably slightly disrespectful to you. Well, that's going to grate. Not my fault. And happy days, I'm not like that. Woohoo! But, for you, I can feel a bit of sympathy. You ugly little trolls. You've
had a super chat, Nate.
It's the internet. It's virtual reality. It allows people to be things that they're not in real life. It's a man behind the curtain effect, where people sound like alpha males on the internet when it's really just an insect with a megaphone. And you don't really know that until you actually see what these hunchback insects look like.
The fact that they can't step out into the real world as that figure that they've created, it gets really frustrating, I'm sure.
Yeah. generates resentment, precisely. Shout out to the flatearthchannel.com who says, "Hey Nathan, sorry we didn't do that live stream on Red Pill channel." He's referring to Red Pill Philosophy channel. Subscribe today because he got a YouTube strike. Oh, no, that's not so good. When I got to town, that's disappointing. I was looking out for it, flatearthchannel.com. But there we go. To be fair, I thought you said dearth, so I was looking on the wrong channel anyway. But thank you for letting me know because I was actually looking out for it, and I really appreciate your super chat. Also, Hunchback of Notre Dame, thank you very much for the super chat. Cat Earth stole my neck.
This is horrible.
Very funny. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
There is no evidence even that the sun is a physical, tangible object that you can establish a distance to. So, to me, first you would need to crystallize whether the sun is actually a physical object at some distance, and then maybe go around measuring it.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you.
Ranty, go on mute.
I've got to get rid of these tears. I'm crying here. Is there any scientific evidence of gravity?
What is it?
Gravity is the solution to a problem that only exists in the heliocentric model.
I think I've got my composure back now. Brilliant. I think that concludes the housekeeping.
I can't breathe.
I got
All
away
right.
for 2 seconds. What did I miss?
Just an amusing super chat, that was all.
Hey, Nathan, how about that Flat Earth football team in Madrid, the 3rd division team?
Yeah, Vice did a video on it, and as soon as it came out, I happened to be looking at my subscriptions when it was like, you know, and you refresh your subscription feed, and it's like 1 second ago, Vice Media with a Flat Earth video, 0 views. I'm like, gotta get in there. So I got and immediately posted something, words to the effect of, outer space is fake, you can't have gas pressure without a container, and just left it at that, and then copied the link, spammed it in a few Skype groups. I'm like, can you go and make a primary comment on this? And whatever, you know, get some proper pro Flat Earth comments on there because it's going to be full of poison within about 10 minutes. Unfortunately for me, big shout out to, I think, The One and Dearth and Mark Sargent, Sleeping Warrior. Who else did I see? There was a few others that immediately did it. They just went straight to the video, liked my comment, so it had a few replies. Obviously, I went in on all of my accounts and replied to myself just to get it higher up the list in the first couple of minutes. But yeah, it got shooted down because obviously the thumb down votes on your comments just don't show, but they will shove it down the list. So it got immediately relegated, but it had like, probably still has the most replies that they'd got. So some of them were like 300 thumbs up on a comment, but 1 or 2 replies, or 10 by now probably. But, you know, within an hour, it had about 40 replies to this one comment about space isn't real because the sky can't be a vacuum, the gas would fill the space. With lots of other people, like I say, Dearth was in there. Quantum Eraser, that's who I forgot. It's because I big shout out to him. So he went in and was just responding to everybody like he does in details. You know, endless paragraphs addressing every point that they put in there, pulling apart their straw men and giving the actual answers. I was just like, when I read it, I went back after a couple of hours, and you know, to the chat thread. You know, thank you very much, all. I'm out. Radius Dominus, Gravita Spiritus Sanctus. May the natural force of gravity be with you. And then, like I say, I just did go back later on to see QE had just done reams of it replying to everybody. I was like, oh, wow, thank you very much. So, yeah, Flat Earth Football, FC, Flat Earth FC.
Nice bloke.
Media.
I spoke to the president in the summer, you know, Nathan. I was trying to line it up to get the Euro Tour to go there, but yeah, quite a passionate bloke who was just explaining, you know, it is the reason he did it is as obvious as what it was. It was just to promote the name and get it out there. He's still very serious about his football club. So yeah, Good luck to him. Yeah, top bloke.
What I saw, which was kind of funny, is a lot of triggering in the comments. A lot of Globers upset at Vice for even playing the thing. So I thought it was kind of funny. And I'm like, well, I guess you guys are in for a hell of a show because this is just beginning. So,
yeah, people want to be left alone in their religious belief, and they especially don't want it pointing out that it is a religious belief. Look, we already know it's a globe. We just don't want to think about it. Get us away from us. You know, that's kind of the attitude I got from the comments. Pretty much what you're saying, Chocolate. People just want to be left alone, and you think, well, that's fine, but so do we. And all we're doing is saying, yeah, reality isn't this model that you guys all believe in. But that suddenly gets us a load of ridicule. But yet you want Vice to just leave you alone when there's obviously a newsworthy story in regards to this football club deciding to rename the team Flat Earth Football Club.
I think he's going to do well.
He's got a much bigger audience, even if it's not necessarily in the stands.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's going to, with that strategic move to name that club, what he did, it's going to pay off in spades for him down the road, because it's, as we know, flat Earth is not dying; it's growing.
You know what the best part is, though? I got a lot of people at my job who are soccer fans, big soccer fans. And the other day when one of those articles came out about the soccer team changing its name, I went around and showed them, and they all just looked at me like, oh my God, like, really? And I said, yep, really? Think it's just me? You think I'm just the crazy one? Well, look, you got a soccer team that just changed their name to that shit. So there you go. Enjoy. And they just kind of didn't really want to talk to me much after that.
Hopefully Sleeping Warrior's around, because I want to find out a little bit about how their league works, which he might know because he's into football. Because is there a chance that there's in the same way we used to have, like, I don't know what it's called in terms of the cup now, but it used to be the League Cup, where basically you'd have third division teams playing first division teams potentially. So in other words, could it be the case that you end up with some really well-known football team playing Flat Earth FC in a league match, in a league cup?
That could happen, yeah. It's not likely to happen because they've got to be really good, and they're in the bottom division, aren't they? So it's
Copa del Rey. They're playing.
But no, the bottom division, though.
But it does happen.
The Copa del Rey, isn't it?
Yeah. They do have a domestic cup that would work like that. Yeah.
Perfect. So there's a potential that you could end up with. I appreciate they've got to be a good team and actually win a few matches to get to be playing in a League Cup match against a decent team. But there's still, while people are, they're only in a lower league, it's like, well, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to be paired up against somebody who's televised or somebody who's well known. You know, that could still very well happen.
Yeah. I was looking at if we were to do the same thing with a league team that was like based in England. I was looking at League Division 2, which is the old 4th division, and like the bottom 3 or 4 teams. Like, let's have a look. We've got Morecambe, Stevenage, Carlisle, Oldham Athletic. They're all teams that would be worth buttons. We could all chip in a £5 and probably get change left over for a packet of chips, and we could buy one of these clubs, and then we could do the same thing. It'd be brilliant because eventually we could end up playing the likes of Liverpool, United, Chelsea, whatever. That'd be ace. We should do that. That would be a brilliant advertisement.
Look into it.
Or
I was looking at one that was local.
Why not look into getting sponsorship on one of the boards at Liverpool?
Can you imagine though? Let's just say you bought Oldham Athletic, right? And then you announced that you were going to rename it to Flat Earth United. All your sponsors would immediately disappear.
Yeah, but it's not going to be. Oh, is Oldham that low? Is it like Kidderminster Harriers level?
Well, I mean, there's Salford City. They're the new Man United team, aren't they? Port Vale, Plymouth Argyle. Yeah, these are all in the bottom of the lowest division in the football, like the proper leagues. Mansfield Town, Leyton Orient, Grimsby. Walsall will be cheap though, because Walsall will be cheap because they've already got Aston Villa. They've already got a couple of Birmingham teams: Birmingham City, Aston Villa. Walsall's like the kind of Tranmere Rovers, but of the Birmingham part. That'd be one of the cheapest ones because they've already got 2 big teams there.
Shout out to Alexander. He says heliocentrism is the biggest religion on flat Earth. In they trust.
Heliocentrism is a religion. Literally a religion.
Correct. They don't like that.
Is QE here?
No, I don't think he is.
Dang it.
Sorry. Did we finish
Can I,
housekeeping? I don't know if we did actually finish housekeeping. Did we cover everything?
You'd finish with the distance to the sun, I think.
Did we get the molten iron core? I don't think so.
What
Any
molten
evidence
iron
of
core?
a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of that presupposed spherical Earth?
Nah.
No, I think that is it. I think we did cover everything else.
Can I take it back to R.C. Maisty for a minute?
I don't think he's here. Is he?
No, I know. No, I just want to have a discussion among us here about his call this morning about triangles and curved and straight lines. He was so willing to believe that math, but when we ask him about 8 inches per mile square, he dismisses that math. Is that interesting?
Interesting. You mean zealotry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the whole point is he comes here and says there's a curved line for this triangle using some kind of computer model for airplane flights. And his own side gives 8 inches per mile square for the circumference of the globe of what the curvature should be. And he backs away from that because it doesn't work, but he wants us to believe this fairy tale curved triangle line. I mean, this guy's insane.
Yeah, as I said, we've got to figure out more and more ingenious ways of working in the begging the question fallacy, because it's all they have. Every single claim to be globe proof ever starts by assuming you're on a sphere. As did that. They all do. There won't be any exceptions to that. But it's nice to hear them trying to weasel it in.
1000 out.
Go ahead, say again. Is that Travis?
Sorry, am I stepping on someone?
No, go ahead, Travis.
Yeah, I took out that P1000 for the first trial run, and well, that's got quite a learning curve to it. I read about half the instruction manual, thought I'd be all right for my first go, and I got some interesting footage, but I wasn't looking across nearly as far as I thought I was. It turns out I was only about 3.7 miles, but it seemed like it was pretty far. I was able to see, underneath docks.
Go over the curve at 3.7, you know.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what you're detailing, because I did the same with my telescope in terms of how easy you think it will be, and I'm sure Rantiers is on the panel will back that up in terms of you've got to know what you're doing to actually get stuff to even be visible at those sorts of distances that he and Sleeping Warrior are capturing. But yeah, you'll get used to it.
I took Sleeping Warrior's advice about doing the manual focus, but I still gotta play with it. So, but it was still cool. I was able to see, underneath docks 3.7 miles away at like 2.5 feet of height off the water, just sitting down on my bum, looking down. It's about 2.5 feet or so, right on the beach. So I don't know. I'm addicted. It's fantastic. Can't wait to, I got so many other areas that I can explore. So if anybody wants to know where I am, I'm in Washington State in the United States, Puget Sound area. So, yeah, thanks.
Hey, do us a favour. Tell Ranty how to do focus lock, because he doesn't know how to use focus lock and he desperately needs it.
I do know how to use focus lock.
Oh, so you just choose not to do it then?
Wow.
Oh. Everyone okay? Right, I've got you on screen, Ranty.
Right. I want to shout out to this channel, Exploring the Plane. Now, I've been a subscriber of his for, I would say, perhaps 6 months, maybe more. I have shouted about before, but he does some excellent observations. So if you guys are interested in the stuff that he's got, head on over there and have a look. But this is an excellent observation of his. Again, from 6 feet, he's looking at 22.6 miles away. He's looking at the Mull of Galloway Lighthouse in Scotland. Now, Earth curve, if you believe in a globe, should say that the Earth curve would be essentially where my cursor is right now. So all of the lower part of the building would be missing, the walls, etc. There'd just be the top part of this visible. As you can see, we're seeing far, far more than we should. As soon as we see that, of course, it automatically then becomes a hologram. So everything that you're looking at now is a hologram. It's not really there. As soon as you see further than you should, it automatically becomes a hologram. But massive shout out to his channel. I've actually done a comparison of the lighthouse here. So this is the lighthouse. There's another image of it. There you go. You can see, line it up side by side. Absolutely beautiful observation. Again, as I say, we are missing some. That has to be said. If it was perfectly flat, it should be down here somewhere. However, we can account for that by the movement of the oceans. They are yet to show us that looming can happen, that these buildings can be loomed up beyond Earth curve and visible in the observation. As I say, absolutely perfect proof. Go and subscribe. Exploring the plane.
Leave it up a sec. So this is Galloway Lighthouse at a distance of
22.6 miles, Nath.
So Galloway Lighthouse at 22.5 miles. As a flat earther, that is the end of our statement. Say it with me. Galloway Lighthouse, 22.5 miles. Right? Anybody disagree?
Yep.
Nope. Right. If you are a fundamentalist religious zealot with a globe belief, that is not Galloway Lighthouse at 22.5 miles. It is in fact a slightly looming, non-standard refraction, holographic projection of Galloway Lighthouse from behind the reified edge of an Earth curve based on a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator and an radius value which will be reified into the leading edge of a sphere to make a lighthouse we as flat earthers simply call Galloway Lighthouse at 22.5 miles into a hologram that isn't really there. According to globe zealots, it's a mirage. It's not really just a lighthouse at a very far distance. We're not really seeing it. It's not really there. It's all a mirage.
Can I just endorse Ranty's suggestion of that exploring the plane channel? I'm also sub to his channel. He does all the work around the Northwest that I really should have been doing, but never got round to. His videos are excellent. Check out his historic videos as well. They are far better than most flat earthers videos, including my own. So make sure you go and sub to his channel because he's definitely worth it, the sub, because his work's really, really good.
And he puts the effort in, he puts the time in, he puts the work in, he gets out. He's always putting videos out. If you like the sort of content that I've put out in the past, and Nate and Tony, go and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.
Could you put out a link in the YouTube chat?
Of course I can. That right now. Exploring them. Can you approve this, Nathan? I'll put it into the side chat now.
Okay. It may not appear at all. Probably better off sticking it in Master B. And I can just paste it straight in.
Sure. So, yeah, Lighthouse, we see it. End of story.
Prior to Flat Earth, they all would say they see it. But now it's got to be looming because we're holding them to task.
When you realise there's no evidence for this ball that we're told we live on, you have to wonder, like, how is it that the ballers keep people so interested in the topic when there is no evidence that any of this is true? It's just shitty evidence that everybody used to believe but no longer does. It's just amazing how people don't realise.
Right, can I sneak in?
It's because they are still allowing for the logical fallacies. So until there's an education on how logical fallacies take place in nations, they will never think anything of it. So they'll say, okay, let me hear your argument for why there are satellites in space. Never mind the fact that you can't gas pressure without a container. So that's how it happens, and that's how it'll continue to happen until the actual problem is addressed, which is the way people think and how they think these things.
A quick shout out to Brian's logic. He says, Nathan, if everyone buys a jersey, then the team will gain money and success as they can afford to buy new players. I think he's referring to Flat Earth FC. It's a very good point. You know, that's the kind of thing that I know people like buying. Certainly here in Britain, people like buying soccer teams' jerseys. And if it says Flat Earth FC on the actual jersey itself, it's like kind of a double whammy, isn't it? I know people like that kind of merchandise. But you're absolutely right, Brian. Thank you very much for the super chat as well. Yeah.
That is really
I'm already in conversation with him through the internet for a jersey.
Very cool. You know, that's kind of, I've got no interest in soccer, but
Travis, the Globers don't trust what we have to say because they're only going to trust experts in physics and math. And if we're not that, then they're only going to appeal to authority.
That's okay. I mean, I don't care. You know, if people can take or leave what we've got to say here as far as I'm concerned. But as I said at the beginning, or it might have been on the pre-show, they're in genuine pain, cognitive pain, people who oppose us on this side of the argument. They're not leaving these shows and getting on with their life. They're leaving these shows in abject frustration and leaving 25 comments underneath it. Well, great for me in terms of my
stock accounts. That's the other thing. They all have numerous soccer accounts to make it look like there's hundreds of people that hate you, and it's like 3. That's it.
We've taken their fantasy away from them. We've taken their escape mechanism away from them. So of course they're going to be mad at us. Like when you take a ball from a baby, that baby's going to be mad.
But the problem is that they don't believe that their ball is being taken away. They don't believe that Flat Earth is growing. And that's one, because of the suppression and censorship of it on Google and YouTube and other various places. But not only that, like you can hear them say, oh, there's not that many Flat Earthers, there's not that many Flat Earthers. I was just looking at this Nathan Thompson had posted a video about it's called Flat Earth. The gamers have figured it out, and it's like 53 seconds long, and it shows how this guy is just playing in some game, and he's live, and he's like, "What? You think that there are more people who believe in Flat Earth than Globe Earth? Let's do a poll right now. I'll show you right now. Here, live. Look at this. Look. Everybody's like 80% or 70% Flat Earth." And he's just gobsmacked. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. But people don't believe that that's true.
When the Globers say that Flat Earth is dying or the numbers are dwindling, they're not talking to us. They're talking to the audience, like the people that are newcomers that are listening to these conversations. They want them to hear that so that they can get discouraged. It's all part of their tactic. They want people to believe that it's dying when it's not. They want people to believe that the censorship isn't real when it is. All part of their tactics.
Okay, there's a couple of super chats, one of which I do actually want to talk about. The other is just amusing. So shout out to the Hunchback of Notre Dame, who says, I live in a lighthouse I made with a Lucasade bowl. Thank you very much for the super chat. Also, shout out to Andy Skinner. He says, could you please help me understand the default Globus pressure gradient argument? Yeah, sure. So pressure gradient is a delta of gas pressure, and in order to have gas pressure you've got to have a container. So by taking the argument away from the question, you essentially offer up a red herring argument to argue about the gas pressure gradient. Now, originally, when we were first making this point concisely understood by the audience, we wouldn't even argue about the gradient. We just said, no, that's a red herring, because it doesn't address the original question. How can you have gas pressure without a container? To have gas pressure, you first must have a container. Now, beyond having the gas pressure to begin with, you can then form pressure gradients if you've got dynamic systems. But the gas pressure gradient leads them to assert that it's logically sound to infer that it goes down and down and down to nothing, which would mean there is a void, which is what they claim in their religion, a sky vacuum. Well, unfortunately, no. The gas would want to fill the available volume. So it doesn't go down and down and down to zero. In the first instance, the gas must be contained for it to then form a pressure gradient. So they're asserting something that is obvious and true as a defence to then beg the question that therefore there's a sky vacuum. But it doesn't address the actual question in housekeeping. How can you have gas pressure without a container? The way you get around it if they assert, well, we've got a gradient, you're denying the gradient. Well, first address the question. How do you have gas pressure in the first instance without a container? Please demonstrate that which you claim is possible, because that is their religious system. A sphere Earth without containment next to a vacuum. Well, if they're going to assert that you can have gas pressure in the first instance without a container, as is the case with their sphere Earth in a vacuum, then they need to demonstrate it's even possible. Roll on hillbilly... Go on.
You haven't answered his question, or he didn't ask what's our position. He asked what the globalist position is. You haven't answered that question.
Their position is there's a gradient, which there is.
Yeah, they think that you don't have 14.7 psi next to a vacuum. I heard Fight the Flat Earth say recently, we don't have 14.7 next to a vacuum. Well, actually, they do. They're just in denial, because he thinks and he tells people that they have 14.7 next to 14.6. 14.6 is next to 14.5. So what that means is he infers that the rest of the gas pressure isn't pushing from below, which would make it a density gradient, but it's actually a pressure gradient. So all of it's pushing. But for some reason, Fight the Flat Earth tells people that it's only the very top skin, like the top few molecules that peel away into the atmosphere. That's not true. All of the atmosphere is pushing, because otherwise you wouldn't have the pressure differential. If it was the case that none of the atmosphere was pushing apart from the top skin, the pressure would all be 0.1, and it would only be the top skin that was slowly flittering away into the atmosphere, into space. Well, that's not what the model says. The whole atmosphere's got to go. It's sudden, it's immediate, and it's violence the bigger the number. And that 14.7 is massive.
And with that, I'll say if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering live stream, then this is where we bid you farewell. However, if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you in the Discord and G Plus panels for making this live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. As I say, stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
And high pressure underneath the wing. Well,
yeah, it doesn't sustain itself, though, Paul. That's the point. It disperses immediately.
Well, wait. Well, but see that here's the catch-22. That's a differential pressure. The vacuum, by definition, is either no stuff or very little stuff. Okay. I asked Zanuck right off the bat. And I was like, well, is there less stuff above the wing, or more, or the stuff above and below the wing the exact same? If he says it's the exact same, then it's not truly a vacuum. It's just differential pressure. It falls apart right there. Do you understand what I'm driving at?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can, under gas law, you can have the same amount of stuff with less pressure. The argument is a vacuum, which means less stuff. So that's the catch.
The Globers think that the gas at the very top layer of the atmosphere is static. It's not moving. And that's not true, because gases move in all directions. So how are the gases at the top of the atmosphere not moving and just static?
Who's got the background?
Ramsey, what are you
Stop doing your dishes during the hangout.
Brian's logic.
Well, also, here's the thing. Think about that. If the gas is not moving, that means it's not colliding, so there's no pressure.
But when do gases never move? They're always moving.
That's what makes them gas. They're moving freely and randomly at high speed in all directions. That's what gas is.
Yeah, so
and you don't have any intermolecular bonds.
The very topmost layer of the atmosphere not move. How is that possible?
I didn't hear
Even
you.
gravity can do
say
that.
Say the first part again.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, Sleeping Warrior and you were just both talking at the same time. It wasn't intentional. Just if you can repeat the first bit.
I was saying that the globers think that the very topmost layer of the atmosphere doesn't move. It's a static, but that's not how gases behave. They move in all directions. And even gravity can make that happen. So what's their explanation for the gases on the topmost layer of the atmosphere being static and not moving?
They can't
How do they explain that?
They don't. There is no justification. It's a violation of a natural law. End of.
I don't want to know how they're not moving. I want to know how they're there in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, and see that. Well, just think about it though. If they're saying the air is not moving, there can't be any pressure because the air has to be moving and colliding with the surfaces to create pressure. So they just defeated themselves.
Can I share something here concerning how and when we debate people on the heliocentric and geocentric, what's actually happening from my viewpoint? I guess so.
Yeah, go ahead.
The issue is they are very defensive for their heliocentric model. And we are asking them to actually critically think before giving an answer. They immediately get on the defensive and not have that prior discussion of what does real facts and real experimentation show before I answer. So why is it that some people, and I say some, meaning flat earthers, are saying, wait a minute, that's a good question. What is the answer for that? Whereas ballers immediately go to the defense of what they were taught from early schooling until university. And they are not taught to critically think. They're taught to obey. And they just parrot what their teacher said. And for some reason, flat earthers don't parrot, they investigate. What's causing all this? The pride?
But it's an in-depth understanding. So if in a social setting, I'm only going because the theme of this particular show is about some of the trolls. If you're considered inferior in your physical stature or your general appearance or your dateability or your sex appeal, and you've got a superior knowledge in terms of the way the world works, well, surely that's a much more lofty expression of one's intellect. Well, if that gets taken away from you, what have you got left? Very little.
Fuck all.
Right.
Yep.
Bit like gas pressure without the container, innit? Once you have no container, or you have your good looks or whatever, then you got nothing left. What else are you living for?
Go along to get along, no matter what.
Well, again, my address, that's obvious. That's what we incur all the time. But there are people who don't fit the profile Nathan just said that still defend the globe. So my question is, when we're talking to people, like I've asked some people I've debated, and I'm talking friends and acquaintances here. Hey, let's not argue. I just want you and me to critically think. If I can't critically think, we shouldn't have this discussion because we're going to undo some lies that I have beheld before and maybe you still hold. So it's not against you that I'm debating personally. I'm just asking, as we talk about these issues, can we critically think? And then they say, sure, sure, sure. And then I say, okay, does water curve? And then what do? They go right back to defending the globe. They can't think. Did they want to answer it?
Do you know what I've noticed? I've noticed that with the discussion with regards to fight the flat Earth and whether or not he was whether he was defamatory or not, it's amazing how quick the ballers become experts at defamation law. They start talking about the nuances, about the meanings of words, and how Craig did or did not do this or that or the other. But when it comes to gravity, they all become completely and utterly retarded. I mean, some people on their side have literally said to me, "Yeah, I know gravity's not a force." And I'm like, okay, well, if you accept that it's not a force, well, how do you accept gas pressure then? Because you need that, even though it's the wrong scale, you at least need something in your mind to be able to stop the gas pressure from disappearing into the vacuum of space because of the differential. And for some reason, they just got this inability to question it whatsoever. It's like they go into a zombie mode, and it's like, so you all become experts in defamation law, right? When one of yours is being thrown under the bus in some way, but none of you can critically analyze your own bullshit model. Isn't that kind of ridiculous? And they just don't see it, and I'm like, this is just ridiculous. But they just can't critically analyze their own model.
Oh, maybe if you put on a lab coat and some glasses, they probably listen to you.
He
Oh
tried
wait,
that.
you already did that.
Yeah, he did.
You remember that one
And they're
video?
still salty over it.
Oh yeah,
It's
they don't
called
like that
fanatical
excess.
religious zealotry. That's what it's called.
Hey, QE.
I'd like to share an observation with you guys, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, Tony, you might have seen this. This is on this Exploring the Plains channel. It's not far from where we actually went to Hoy Lake. We went to Hoy Lake, and the distance to the tower was 29 miles. In this case, it's 28 miles, so it's almost the same distance. And it also has the roller coaster in it. Do you remember our image? The first time we took the P900 out and we filmed at night time. Obviously, he took this this image at dusk or something, and look at this.
Yeah, to be fair though, he's not in the same. He's on a higher elevation by about.
He's
10
only, yeah, he's about 30 feet above sea level.
Yeah, he's about 10 feet higher than what we were.
Yeah, but look at this. The entire roller coaster should be missing.
Yeah, I agree.
All that 230 foot high roller coaster should be gone to Earth curve if we believe in a globe, and most of the tower, half of the tower at least.
Well, let's do it again. Hold on. So this is the big one at Blackpool. What's the distance?
26.2 miles, Nathan, to the big one. That's
Wow.
this
Okay.
one.
So say it with me. The big one at Blackpool, distance 26 miles. That's the end of our declaration as flat earthers. However, if you are a fundamentalist religious zealot, that's not the big one at Blackpool. That is, in fact, a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a roller coaster from behind the reified edge of an Earth curve based on a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator and the reified edge of an Earth curve model based on an R value. To turn a roller coaster, which we as flat earthers say we can see, there it is, roller coaster, 26 miles, end of explanation, into a roller coaster which isn't really there. It's actually a mirage of a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's complete horseshit, guys. If you can't see by looking at these pictures that we are seeing too far, right? I don't know what else you're ever going to accept, because I don't know. I look at the Himawari pictures and I look at it and go, what's the name of the cartoon makers? Is it Disney? I look at the Himawari and instantly I go Disney. I look at the satellite footage from the International Space Station, and I think Disney. I look at anything to do with those Muppets that are on there that they tell us are on there, just think Disney. Yeah, I look at stuff real world and I look at it and go, that's clearly a real photograph. Someone's actually taken that. You can tell just by looking at it. There's something different about it. I can't describe why. I can just tell it. There's something innate about that proves that is a real photograph that somebody's really taken and not stolen it and put it through Photoshop and made it into something else. It's a real photo, but for some reason, everything on their model, anything to do with NASA or the authorities, it's completely Disney. If you can't see that this is real, then there's an issue here with cognitive ability of everybody on their model. And it's like, come on, guys, we're seeing too far. There is no evidence of the stuff that they claim. Why do you still believe it? Why won't you let it go? Is it you just want the convenient lie?
And let's be sure.
It still gets me to this day. I don't understand how the Globers look at these images of Earth from space and still believe it. Like,
What
that's
model?
Absolutely fake.
He said the globe Earth model. What model is that?
The one that they all believe that they've got.
I've never seen it.
That's why he said the one they believe that they got.
I want to see it.
The one that you can only see on photographs or computer screens or TV screens. You can't see it in the real world. Only on TV.
The question's still, what is their model? Again.
I told you. based on a begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking, Earth curve calculator. I didn't say model.
The model that everyone's expected to just believe in, whether they know it or not.
No, Anthony said their model, the globe Earth model, I want to see it.
I'd just give you an R value and say that's what they use. They just use this value that they utilize to presuppose sphericity to Earth. It's called the R value.
That's not a model.
I know. They don't have a model. They think they've got a model. They don't have one.
They have.
Sorry, go on, Sleep and Worry.
They believe they have. They tell people they have.
Yeah, but they haven't. There is no Earth model for them to reify. They reify the Earth model by way of the Earth radius value.
I was speaking to Gem Panda this morning, and I asked him what evidence. He said basically.
You got people over talking each other. Hello, you got 5 people over talking each other. Elijah, can you hear people talking?
I can't hear Elijah talking.
Elijah, you need to reboot, Nathan.
Okay.
I see.
There we go. I think we can hear him.
Go ahead, Elijah.
I was saying that they think that they have a model, but they don't even have that, at least in the way of some flat earthers who don't understand reification. They'll build this model and it's something. When you say, okay, what's the flat earth model? They'll point you to something. But if you ask a glober what your model is, they can barely describe it, let alone show it to you.
That was one of the big things for me. Like, really, what did we all? What is it? Like, we all just sort of believe what we saw on the telly, and that's our model. There's no, when you really get down to it, there's nothing there. It's all just a bunch of ideas. Nothing's complete.
Yeah, they don't have a model.
Well, they don't even know, right? I mean, a year and a half ago, they were all arguing about how Google Earth was not their model, right? But yet we've still had people say that Google Earth is their model. As a matter of fact, the last time one of these Globers were in here, we asked him, where's your model? And he told us to bring up time and date. So is that your model, timeanddate.com? I mean, get it together, guys. Where's your model?
Just to be clear, though, even if they did present a model, who cares? Models are pseudoscience. We don't live on a model. That's
I know, to be honest, Nathan, when they ask us for our model, it's like, yeah, we've just got like a P900 and a compass, right? What can you realistically expect when we have no experience in this other than, questioning what we're being told? But wouldn't you expect them to have a working model on that after all this time, money, resources, personnel? These guys need to have a model. If they don't have a model, then what have they actually got other than belief?
Well, that's what they do have, a belief.
Well, the reason they don't have a model is because scientifically it doesn't prove anything. So they couldn't have come up with a model because science doesn't prove anything.
Whoa. Science does prove stuff. They say.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying.
But it's worth. Good point. It's worth bringing clarity, though. So when they say science,
that's true.
When they say science, they actually mean pseudoscience. And when you disprove their pseudoscience, they declare that science, meaning pseudoscience, doesn't prove anything. So when you hear somebody on the globe Earth saying science doesn't prove anything, that roughly translates to my pseudoscience just so story's been proven wrong, and pseudoscience doesn't prove anything, which they'd be right about.
Precisely.
I'd like to also address what Anthony said earlier, Sleeping Warrior said earlier, because you were saying you look at all of these satellite images, quote unquote, and you're thinking Disney. That's exactly how I started my journey to the flat earth, because when I finally decided, let me look at these pictures of Earth, it didn't put fear into me. It wasn't something unfamiliar, something that I know that I couldn't have seen with my own eyes. It looked like something I've seen before. Something like right out of a Pixar movie or something like that. So you're absolutely right about that. Nothing that they do strike me as real.
Yeah, I thought that was odd. I discussed this with Mark Sargent. So when Mark Sargent came on the scene, one of the things he talked about was trying to find a decent picture of Earth from space. And I explained to him that I'd had a similar experience, but just hadn't had the moment make me twig. So a couple of PCs before the one I've got now, I remember thinking, what I really want on my backdrop is Earth from space with real-time weather. How naive was I? I was like, oh, you'll definitely be able to get that. There'll be pictures of Earth from the satellites, and you'll be able to just have it as a desktop GIF or whatever, something to play out to show you the weather on Earth from space. That's cool, right? So then I did the search, and lo and behold, there's nothing out there. There's just constant repetition of the same CGI image of the blue marble, and a couple of variants that have been tarted up from more recent times. And that's basically it. Now, at the time, I was like, that's pretty interesting. I think it was around about the time that the iPhone had come out, and it was the lock screen. So it's probably about 2006, something like that. There or thereabouts. I can't remember when the first iPhone came out, but I remember it making me think, oh yeah, I want that image. But all they did was use the blue marble image. But like I say, my idea for my PC at the time was to have a nice picture of Earth from space, and I just didn't find one. So again, it was one of those things that sort of, yeah, I've been there, done that, and at the time it raised my eyebrows, but it didn't make me think, oh yeah, well that's because they're all fake. Just wow, isn't it extremely limited what they've actually got? Why isn't the current weather being broadcast 24/7 so you can just see it? That seems a bit odd, but like I say, you move on with life, and then you come across this subject and you hear Matt Powland saying the Earth is flat, and suddenly you go, holy shit, suddenly all those little things immediately come back one after the next. So yeah, weird how people haven't looked for the images of their reality from a vantage point that you'd never be able to achieve yourself. But I certainly did, because I was interested. I was a bit of a NASA geek at the time. I still am subscribed to Science at NASA, but back then I was watching it all the time, every single night when they were releasing videos almost nightly. So yeah, it's just interesting how people's journey can literally be the same as someone else's, but one man will spot it and the other man won't. Same with the moon landings with a lot of people. So many people have watched that footage and just not even twigged that it's all filmed on a set.
Yeah, it's like those 3D magic eyes. Like those 3D magic eyes where two people can look at the same thing, but one sees it deeper and actually sees that there's a picture there as opposed to just a bunch of gibberish.
Yeah, and the other guy goes, what the hell are you on about? I can't see shit. For years I was like that, and then I worked out how to do it, and now I could see it. But until you realise that we're not living on a ball, you're looking at the magic eye and you're going, yeah, I can see it, man, and you're seeing shit all, but you don't want to go out against your mates because they can all see it, and you don't want to be the one that can't.
Emperor without clothing.
Yeah.
Hey, Nathan, before you close out, I got one little short thing, so.
Go ahead, I think that's a...
Did he go to the Globe Live finale yesterday?
Me?
No.
No, John obviously is not in with it.
We've covered this. Go ahead, QE.
You going to close out here in a little bit?
Yeah, how long's your little bit?
About 4'8".
Oh dear!
I missed that insult. I missed that insult. Say it again.
On the
People
replay.
are laughing over top of it.
Sorry, how long's you? I don't know what you're actually going to do. So
yeah, it's not that long. But go ahead. I missed the little insult.
It wasn't as an insult against you. I said, "How long's your little thing?" And he said, "About 4'8".
John's behind. We'll have to fill you in after the show, John.
All right.
Nothing personal.
Yeah, something happened. Oh God. All right. Let me know when you're done.
Go ahead.
Something happened on Friday in the after show. Zanuck was in there, and there was a big brouhaha on Friday in the after show. However, many topics, but one topic came up, and Zanuck was in there, and I just want people to probably feebly attempt to hold his feet to the fire and be a man of his word. Okay, so what had happened was, oh God. Are we good? Get it all out. Okay. All right. So the entropy topic came up with Zanuck, and he wrote in the Discord server, and I quote, entropy is not greater of water versus gas. That makes no sense. So I said, whoa, wait a second. Say that one more time. So he said it, and I said, whoa, wait a second. I will bet you, I know this is childish, but stay with me. I will bet you $1,000 that you are incorrect. And he said, bet's good, $1,000. So I posted a citation. Like, everyone knows this that has a clue. You know, they don't need a citation, but I provided a citation from University of Wisconsin Chemistry Department. The entropies of gases are much larger than those of liquids, which are larger than those of solids. And he has heretofore been trying to get out of his word. This man owes me $1,000. 11 witnesses, heard witnesses, heard what he said. I just want people to hold his feet to the fire. Thanks.
Yeah.
Just repeat his statement, John, please.
I was there. I heard it.
Yeah, I was there.
Well, just so it's attached to this, with witnesses are great as well. Yeah, great. Can you post it? Because presumably this was in print, right?
Yes, I'll post it in Master B's. Is that all right?
Someone bring it up on screen from Master B, please. In
1 second. 1 second. Give me a minute.
Nice
Yeah, I see that idiot on a daily basis in the chat room, so I'll hold his feet to it.
Hey, real quick, an admin. I've got a friend of mine. His name's Dark Sky Guy. He's a photographer, flat earther. If you see him on Discord, can somebody help me make sure he gets unmuted, can share?
It's in the after show, so everyone's unmuted.
Is it
It's in Master B?
Yeah, Righteous is on the case.
Triggered Earther of the Year nominations tonight as well, Nath. 10 p.m. BST.
Cool.
Now the bet was not
Ranty.
The bet. Oh my god!
I'll do a proper plug in a second, Ranty. Hold on. Okay, I've got it nicely positioned on screen. Let's round this out.
Yeah, the bet was not written. The bet was verbal, but the point was written. As you can see, Zanuck, entropy is not greater of water versus gas. That makes no sense, right? So after he said that, I held him to it and had him repeat it, and then I put the citation below, as you can see. And even that knuckle dragger neutrino lover, even he agreed. Gases are higher in entropy state than liquids or solid. This one's one thing that he got right. Yeah, that's right. It's correct. So, Zanuck, I'm still waiting. If you don't have your word, you don't have anything, son. So, keep your word.
But
that's it.
So, if you are watching on Nathan Oakley's premiering stream, then tune into Ranty Flat Earth starting now over on Ranty Flat Earth channel. So I think he's got a chit chat that will be starting ever so shortly, if I've timed this correctly. A massive, huge, enormous shout out to all of you in the Discord and G Plus panels for making this after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!